This is DateLine. Headline breaking news with a little snark thrown in. DateLine.
Vacation, all I ever wanted. Vacation, had to get away.
President Obama is enjoying the lap of luxury at the elite 1%er getaway of Martha's Vineyard, trying to improve his golf game as he passes 200 rounds on the links as president.
Four! Watch where you're headed! Well, I yelled four, you idiot. That's what four means.
But who can blame him for needing to wind down after a blistering 20 months since getting reelected? He has worked so hard day and night, pushing his approval rating, according to the latest Reuters Ipsos poll, to an embarrassing 37%. One can only imagine what he has in store for the last 2 years as the worst president since World War II. DateLine. Eric Holder, update. As we reported last week, a judge ordered the lawless Attorney General to turn over any and all Fast and Furious documents he has been hiding from the public, the group Judicial Watch and congressional investigators. So let's check in on Holder as he is collecting all the papers to be turned over any day now. If you listen closely, you can actually hear him gathering them right now. DateLine. Mexico. Sergeant Andrew Tamaresi, who actually did serve his country with honor and distinction with 2 tours in Afghanistan and is suffering from PTSD, is still sitting in a jail for accidentally making a wrong turn at the border. Andrew's attorney, Fernando Benitez, plans to file a motion this week to throw out evidence obtained in the early hours of his arrest. After his 8-hour detainment on March 31st of this year, he wasn't given a translator to adequately explain why he was being arrested. The motion will claim that this was denying his civil rights, as according to Mexican law. This is a snark-free zone in DateLine. Let's phone blitz the Mexican embassy in D.C. at 202-728-1600. This week, call the Mexican embassy at area code 202-728-1600. Let's give them an incentive to pressure the judge to declare a mistrial and send Andrew home where he belongs. DateLine. Scandalville, USA. As if the IRS and its illegal targeting of conservative groups and its illegal targeting of Republican donors with unwarranted audits wasn't enough, they have infected other parts of the Obama administration. The administrator of the Centers for American and Medicaid Services, CMS, Marilyn Tavenner, who was appointed by Barack Obama, has warned Congress that she may not be able to cooperate with a congressional investigation into the flawed Obamacare rollout because she has deleted some of her emails.
Say what?
I know, right? Deja vu all over again. If you remember, the Obamacare website was an unmitigated disaster and cost the taxpayers an upwards of $800 million. The funny fact about this is that a former classmate of the First Lady, Michelle Obama, owns the company that got paid all that money for a failed website. But don't worry about any of this blatant crony capitalism being exposed anytime soon. Obama's appointee, Taverner, has gone to the lowest learner school of obstructionism, stonewalling, and evidence destruction. And if all else fails, Taverner can always take the fifth.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
DateLine. Hawaii.
Aloha.
Obama family friend and current governor of the 50th state in the Union.
57 states.
Sorry about that. My bad. Neil Abercrombie, who was close to President Obama's grandparents back in the day, got a valuable endorsement this week, right before the Democrat primary for his bid for re-election as governor. Obama came out and fully backed Abercrombie with the weight of his popularity, trying to push the old family friend to a new term. In one of the few states that still approve of Obama's handling on his job, obviously too much Maui-Wowie available.
Hey, you want to get high, man?
That's how they do. They got wooden balls, man.
I got a joint here, man. I've been saving for a special occasion.
The curse of the Obama endorsement reared its ugly head again as Abercrombie lost in the primary 31% to 67%, a landslide. So Obama helps set another record in failure. No incumbent governor in the history of Hawaii has lost in a primary until the Obama endorsement. Could we please get President Obama to endorse all Democrats in the Senate?
Ouch!
DateLine, California. Republican candidate for governor Neil Kashkari spent a week incognito on the streets to see what it was like for a person looking for a job in the Golden State. He was turned away at every place he asked for a job after his pocket money ran out. Now that is quite interesting because the current governor is running for re-election on what he says is a state in good economic health. Current California Governor Jerry Brown, otherwise known as Governor Moonbeam, is running on the slogan, the California Comeback. This is shocking for people with IQs in double digits because California leads the nation with 24% of its population living in poverty. With the willingness to turn a blind eye to illegal immigrants flooding the low-skilled labor market and insanely high taxes driving businesses out of the state, and his record poverty, you would think Brown would have one foot out the door and one foot on a banana peel in the upcoming election. But not in the bluest of blue states, or as educated people call it, the dumbest of dumb states. Brown is ahead in the polls for governor by a whopping 35% margin. We here at DateLine ask the eternal question every week. What will it take for the voters of California to finally pull their heads out? DateLine, New York. President Obama gave his last interview before the August vacay to the fair and balanced and unbiased reporter from the New York Times, Thomas Friedman.
Say what?
Okay. The liberal bomb-throwing partisan Obama cheerleader, Thomas Friedman.
Okay.
In it, he continued to blame everyone and everything under the sun for his disastrous presidency. As he lamented the problem of, quote, big money in politics, unquote, Friedman forgot to mention the fact that Obama has set a record of fundraising with his 1%er donors in his second term. And when Obama said that the, quote, ideological extremism and maximist position, unquote, of Republicans has blocked his great ideas, Friedman forgot to mention that President Obama's fiscal year 2013 budget got voted down 513 to 0, with even Democrat loons like Pelosi and Wasserman Schultz voting against it. And what about his supposed jobs bill, the American Jobs Act that the Democrats actually killed in the Senate? And to close out this riveting, hard-hitting interview, can you hear the sarcasm dripping from my microphone? Obama ended by blaming the media because his agenda was being blocked by the efforts of grassroots conservatives throughout America and new media's role in shaping that. No wonder foreign leaders and terrorist groups have no fear of President Obama. He has a standard response for explaining all of the facets of his failed presidency. And that's part one of DateLine. We'll be back after these messages. DateLine. Hillary 2016 Watch. The former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who was interviewed just last week here on the Ascend Conservatism show, has started running for president for 2016 without actually coming out and declaring it. But as all of the 2016 Democratic presidential hopefuls will have to do to have a chance in winning, Hillary threw Barack Obama under the bus. In an attempt to distance herself from the worst POTUS since the Second World War, Hillary blamed Obama's ineptitude in helping the rebels in Syria as a cause for the rise of the terrorist army ISIS. As senator back in 2008, Barack Obama ran as the not Bush candidate. Hillary will be the not Obama candidate, as his disastrous presidency not only threatens to tank any hopes the Democrats have of holding on to the Senate, but his sheer incompetence just might poison any Dem's chance at the White House in 2 years. When a person like Hillary, with an absolute horrible record as Senator and Secretary of State, and who is also known as the Butcher of Benghazi,
Well, I would argue with the premise.
throws you under the bus, now that's bad. DateLine. Flashback. Tel Aviv. Our United States Embassy in Israel has been flying new colors lately, right next to the sacred stars and stripes that millions have died all over the world for. This new flag has a lot of colors, a rainbow of colors. Flying high over our embassy in Tel Aviv, which represents our great nation to the Israeli people, has been flying the LGBT flag next to Old Glory. President Obama himself has shown the world that in the face of trials and tribulations across the globe, he's a sissy pants. I may disagree with his policy, but let's ask Blaine and Twan what they think about it.
I think this one deserves the new and improved 2 snaps, a twist, and a kiss.
DateLine. Reality. The devil is wearing a parka this week, as hell just might have frozen over. Top Obama cheerleaders in the mainstream media, Chuck Todd and Andrea Mitchell, who used to be reporters before joining the Obama press office, blasted the president yesterday. On Meet the Press, Todd and Mitchell hit their boiling point on Obama's excuses and blame game. Andrea Mitchell called the White House's bad intelligence excuse for the unraveling of Iraq a quote-unquote farce. And Chuck Todd claimed that Obama never even tried to secure a 2011 troop agreement with the Iraqi government, even though he claimed to do so. Could it be that the Obama sycophants in the media just might be waking up to the disaster that they brought upon the American people by not vetting the most unqualified man to ever run for president? Only time will tell. DateLine. Eric Holder, update, redo. As we reported earlier, the most lawless Attorney General in history, the only cabinet member in the history of the United States to be held in contempt of Congress, was ordered to turn over all documents on the Operation Fast and Furious that has caused hundreds of deaths on both sides of the Mexican-American border. These are documents that Holder and President Obama claimed didn't exist in the first place. These are the same documents that President Obama tried to hide by illegally using executive privilege.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
But since a D.C. judge revoked that pathetic attempt at a cover-up, the documents must be released. So let's check in on Holder once again as he is getting all the papers together to be turned over to investigators. If you listen closely, you can actually hear him putting each paper piece by piece together to be turned over. If you listen closely. And that's DateLine for this day, August 11th, 2014.